Do you enjoy a good shooter and want to know which ones are the most insane, intense, and unforgettable of all time? Then get your trigger finger ready, because this list gets straight to the point. These are 23 must-play shooters, the kind every fan of the genre needs to try at least once in their life. From futuristic wars to real conflicts, each of these games delivered epic moments that made history. If you're into pure action, this video was made for you. Before we start, if you can give us a hand, hit that subscribe button. We're about to reach 50,000 subscribers, and every new supporter helps keep this project alive and brings even more lists, discoveries, and awesome games to you. So let's do this together. And now, let's get started. Black Ops defined an entire generation with its dark narrative full of twists. Set during the Cold War, it throws you into secret operations, espionage, and missions that feel straight out of an action movie. The story blends reality and paranoia with conspiracies and fragmented memories that constantly make you question what's real. Every mission is intense and cinematic, keeping adrenaline at its peak until the very end. Gameplay is fast, precise, and packed with iconic moments. The pacing is flawless, shifting between stealthy infiltrations and explosive firefights. The arsenal is varied and deadly, with classic weapons from the era and experimental gear that change the way you fight. The campaign stands out for its creativity and how it pulls you into the mind of a soldier broken by trauma and war. For its time, the graphics were a massive leap in realism and atmosphere. Facial expressions, lighting effects, and level design created an insane level of immersion, especially during interrogation scenes and the most intense sequences. The cinematic direction and political backdrop reinforce the tension and the constant sense of being watched. Everything feels designed to keep you on edge. The impact of Black Ops goes far beyond its action. It makes you feel part of something bigger, a conflict where truth itself is as dangerous as any rifle. It's the kind of shooter that combines strong storytelling with addictive gameplay, and it's still remembered as one of the most iconic entries in the Call of Duty franchise. Battlefield 1 took shooters back to the roots of modern warfare, portraying World War I with an intensity rarely seen before. The campaign is split into multiple short stories, each showing a different side of the conflict, from pilots in aerial dogfights to soldiers in the trenches fighting for survival. It's a human and tragic narrative that makes you feel the weight of war in every decision and every loss. Gameplay is chaotic, massive, and incredibly immersive. Large-scale battles are brutal, with tanks, planes, horses, and weapons that require mastery and strategy. Nothing stays the same. Environments are dynamically destroyed, forcing you to adapt constantly. The pacing is unpredictable, swinging between pure action and eerie silences that keep your heart racing. Visually, it's breathtaking. DICE created some of the most stunning war environments ever. Deserts, forests, and European villages recreated with striking realism. Smoke, fire, and mud look tangible, and every explosion reshapes the battlefield. It's impossible not to get lost in the scale and chaos of each fight. Battlefield 1 isn't just about winning battles, it's about understanding their cost. The mix of emotional storytelling and cinematic action delivers an unforgettable experience, showing the human side of a forgotten war. It's a reminder that courage and despair often walk hand in hand when the whole world is burning. Sniper Elite 5 is the peak of the series, blending surgical precision with total freedom of approach. Set in World War II, it has you infiltrating occupied France to eliminate high-value targets and dismantle a secret Nazi operation. The story is straightforward, but the real focus is on method. Each mission is a massive playground of possibilities, where success depends on patience, observation, and perfect shots. Gameplay is where it truly shines. The sniping system is deeply satisfying. Distance, wind, gravity, and stance all affect your shot, and landing a kill from hundreds of meters away is unmatched. The iconic X-ray kill cam returns more detailed than ever, showing the bullet's impact in real time. But it's not just about shooting. You can infiltrate, sabotage, or manipulate enemies with distractions. Maps are expansive and meticulously designed, full of alternate routes and creative opportunities. From seaside fortresses to cities crawling with soldiers, every environment rewards thinking like a true marksman. The visual detail is stunning, and the weapon physics and explosions push immersion to another level. More than just a shooter, it's a game of patience and strategy. Every mission tells its own story, and every shot carries weight. It's the perfect blend of realism and freedom, making you feel like part of a war fought from the shadows, where a single bullet can change the course of an entire operation. Insurgency. Sandstorm is one of the most intense and realistic shooters ever made. The story puts you in modern conflict zones with no clear heroes or villains, only soldiers trying to survive in the chaos. The focus isn't on a linear plot, but on the raw sensation of modern warfare. Every shot, every reload, every movement carries weight, forcing you to think before you act. Gameplay is a masterclass in tension and authenticity. There's no aim assist, no enemy markers, no cinematic exaggeration, just you, your squad, and the uncertainty of where the next bullet will come from. Sound is one of its strongest features. Every round whizzing past and every distant scream pull you deeper in. Co-op and competitive matches are nerve-wracking, where communication and precision matter more than speed. Visually, Sandstorm impresses with its brutal simplicity. Environments are realistic, dirty, and functional. No glamour, just the rawness of urban combat. Dust rising from explosions, reflections on metal surfaces, and uniform details create a suffocating atmosphere. It's the kind of game that drops you into war unfiltered. What makes it unique is its commitment to realism. Every victory is earned with sweat, and every mistake costs dearly. It's a game that rewards patience and teamwork, one that makes you respect every step you take. One of the most authentic shooters of the generation, built for those who value intensity over spectacle. Delta Force Hawk Ops marks the return of a classic franchise with a modern, brutal approach. The story places you in elite tactical operations around the world, mixing large-scale battles with infiltration and sabotage missions. Everything is told through the eyes of highly trained soldiers dealing with politics, betrayal, and scenarios that shift with every decision. It's military action in its purest form. Gameplay blends tactical realism with modern fluidity. You can push forward with brute force, deploy drones for recon, or coordinate precise strikes with your squad. The weapon system is deep, with detailed customization and unique recoil and sound behaviors. The pacing is dynamic, alternating between intense firefights and tense tactical standoffs. Visually, it's another highlight. Missions take you from deserts and forests to ruined cities, all with insane attention to detail. Environmental destruction is real and can change the battle completely. Walls collapse, vehicles explode, and lines of sight are never safe. The art direction leans heavily into realism, resulting in a striking and impactful presentation.
Delta Force Hawk Ops delivers exactly what it promises: modern tactical action on an epic scale. It balances the feeling of being in a real war with the fun of fast, accessible gameplay. A worthy return of a legendary name and proof that strategy and adrenaline can thrive side by side in a military shooter.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint throws you into a survival conflict where the hunter becomes the prey. The story unfolds on Aroa, a technological paradise seized by an army of rogue elite soldiers who turned against their creator. After an ambush leaves you for dead, you must fight alone, surrounded by lethal drones and trained enemies. It's a tale of resistance, adaptation, and the crushing weight of isolation. Gameplay is layered and demanding. Survival is a core element. You'll manage injuries, fatigue, and scarce resources while facing intelligent, relentless enemies. The customization system is massive, letting you shape your combat style, whether stealthy, tactical, or explosive. Missions are open-ended, giving you full freedom to tackle objectives your own way. Visually, it's stunning, with breathtaking natural environments. Dense forests, fog-covered mountains, and futuristic bases constantly contrast beauty with danger. Dynamic weather and a full day-night cycle completely change how you approach missions, while ambient sound makes you feel trapped deep in hostile territory. Ghost Recon Breakpoint is about overcoming and outsmarting. It forces you to think, move carefully, and master the terrain. It's the kind of shooter that rewards intelligence and patience, placing you at the center of a silent war. Every victory feels earned, and that's what makes it so intense and satisfying. Spec Ops, the line is far more than a shooter. It's a descent into the psychology of war. The story begins as a rescue mission in a ruined Dubai, but quickly spirals into something dark and disturbing. As the squad advances, the desert and madness consume everything, and the line between hero and villain vanishes. It's a powerful tale of guilt, morality, and the invisible scars of combat. Gameplay mixes intense action with choices that carry real weight. Each firefight feels straightforward at first, but consequences build, showing how your decisions affect the team's sanity. Combat is direct and tactical, with realistic weapons and enemies that force adaptation. But the true battle is internal. The game makes you confront what war does to those who fight it. The game creates a unique atmosphere. Ruined Dubai feels like a character itself. Skyscrapers buried in sand, suffocating storms, and a color palette reflecting the psychological collapse of the cast. The contrast between destroyed luxury and violence builds unforgettable scenery. Music and sound design add to the emotional weight of every moment. Spec Ops, the line is a gut punch, a deconstruction of the classic war hero. It doesn't reward you for winning, it makes you question why you're fighting. Few games are as provocative and memorable, which is why it's still remembered as one of the boldest, most impactful narratives in the genre. Space Marine is pure futuristic brutality and glory. The story puts you in the armor of a genetically enhanced warrior of the Imperium, sent to stop an orc invasion on an industrial world. The plot is straightforward but fueled by the grandeur of its universe, full of fanaticism, sacrifice, and battles where faith and blood are inseparable. Every mission is an epic march through destruction. Gameplay is a showcase of rhythm and raw power. It flawlessly blends melee and gunplay, letting you swap between chainswords and explosive rifles in seconds. Combat is visceral, with waves of enemies swarming you and forcing non-stop fighting. Its regeneration system, tied to aggression, encourages charging forward instead of retreating, making battles frantic and addictive. The visuals and design shine within the Warhammer universe's style. The Space Marine armor is a work of art, covered in symbols and intricate detail. Factories, temples, and battlefields look like gothic sci-fi paintings brought to life. The scale is colossal, making you feel part of a sacred war of near-divine proportions. Its real charm is the sense of absolute power. Few games deliver the impact of every strike and shot as strongly as this. It's a journey of honor, fanaticism, and carnage, a celebration of stylized war. Warhammer 40,000. Space Marine doesn't aim for realism, it aims for epic, and in that it succeeds perfectly. Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus, is one of the boldest and most intense shooters ever made. The story envisions an America conquered by Nazis after World War II, and you fight as part of the resistance, trying to reignite the flame of freedom. It blends relentless action with genuine humanity, tackling themes of oppression, trauma, and hope. The narrative is heavy, yet balanced with heart and sheer brutality. Gameplay is controlled chaos. You're free to sneak in quietly or blow everything apart, always with an absurd sense of power. The weapons are spectacular, heavy, destructive, and with a retro-futuristic design that fits the alternate world setting. Combat is fierce, and enemy AI keeps constant pressure, turning every mission into a relentless challenge. Graphically, it's a masterclass in style and art direction. Cities rebuilt under Nazi rule combine American architecture with propaganda, creating a disturbing and believable world. Lighting and detail make every level feel like a movie scene. The engine ensures fluidity and cinematic impact in every firefight. Wolfenstein II is more than a shooter. It's a cry of resistance. It mixes powerful storytelling with insane action, making you laugh, rage, and even feel emotional. It shows how even a broken hero can spark a revolution. One of the genre's most unforgettable titles, unafraid of being bold and human at the same time. Doom Eternal is the very definition of controlled chaos and pure adrenaline. The story continues the saga of the Slayer, an unstoppable warrior facing the forces of hell in a war that has now reached Earth. The plot is straightforward but packed with mythology and symbolism, portraying the clash between humanity and cosmic destruction. Every level is a new blood-soaked arena, and the pace never slows down. It's non-stop action from start to finish. Gameplay is downright addictive. The game forces you to stay constantly on the move, switching between weapons, abilities, and executions in a flawless dance of carnage. There's no rest, every enemy is a piece of the survival puzzle, and mastering the cycle of shooting, reloading, slashing, and blasting is the key to staying alive. The fluidity and weight of the controls make every fight feel like precise choreography. The graphics and art direction are grotesque and beautiful at the same time. Hellish landscapes, ruined cities, and alien worlds create a striking visual contrast. Enemy design is terrifying and creative, with creatures that look ripped straight from a biomechanical nightmare. The colors, lighting, and particle effects crank up the intensity. It's like playing inside a heavy metal album cover. Doom Eternal doesn't give you time to think. It makes you react, feel, and master the chaos. It's the pinnacle of first-person action, a roller coaster of brutality and precision that celebrates the raw instinct of gaming. No other shooter balances speed and control with such perfection. It's an anthem of destruction and a reminder that hell never sleeps. Titanfall 2 is one of the biggest surprises of the last decade. The story follows a pilot and his Titan in the middle of an interplanetary war, but it goes far beyond action. It's about friendship, sacrifice, and the bond between man and machine. The narrative is emotional and well-paced, perfectly balancing epic moments with personal ones. Few shooters have ever combined so much heart and intensity. Gameplay is on another level. Parkour and fluid movement turn the battlefield into a playground of speed and creativity. Running along walls using a jetpack and combining melee strikes with quick gunfire create dynamic, unpredictable combat. And when you step into your Titan, everything changes. The weight of the weapons, the impact of the blows, and the sheer scale of the battles make every encounter unforgettable. Visually, the game shines with clarity and fluidity. Maps are well designed, from industrial arenas to forests and futuristic bases filled with detail. The engine keeps the action smooth, even during massive explosions, while the art direction blends sci-fi style with military realism. The Titan's designs are iconic. Each one feels like an extension of its pilot. What makes Titanfall 2 so special is the perfect balance between emotion and action. The campaign is short but unforgettable, and the multiplayer is still remembered as one of the most creative and fun ever made. It's one of those games that remind you why you love shooters: fast, technical, emotional, and full of soul. Halo, the Master Chief Collection, is a true gift for anyone who loves the history of shooters. It brings together all the main chapters of the classic saga in one single journey, following the path of one of gaming's most iconic characters. The story spans galactic wars, unlikely alliances, and battles against forces threatening all of existence. Reliving this timeline feels like flipping through the pages of shooter history, with each game marking a different era. Gameplay showcases the evolution of the genre in real time. From the slower pace of Halo Combat Evolved to the dynamism of Halo 4, the collection lets you feel the progression of mechanics and combat. The shooting system remains sharp and satisfying, with legendary weapons and enemies that demand smart tactics and movement. Playing them all in sequence feels like a masterclass in FPS design, simple, fluid, and timeless. The collection is both a technical and nostalgic spectacle. The remastered versions feature upgraded textures, modern lighting effects, and smooth frame rates that make everything more fluid. You can switch between classic and updated visuals with a single button, making the experience even more special. It's like reliving the past with the power of the new generation. What makes Halo Collection unique is its sense of legacy. Few franchises carry as much emotional weight and cultural impact as Halo. This isn't just a bundle of games, it's a celebration of history, community, and the evolution of shooters, a complete journey meant to be remembered and replayed for years to come. Outriders blends brutal action with a sci-fi narrative full of mystery and despair. The story takes you to planet Enoch, humanity's supposed new home that quickly turns into hell. After a supernatural storm reshapes everything, you awaken years later with devastating powers and a world left in ruins. The plot mixes survival and revenge, exploring the collapse of human hope in the face of the unknown. Gameplay is the beating heart of the game. The combat system fuses intense gunplay with supernatural abilities, turning every battle into a showcase of controlled chaos. It's fast, aggressive, and rewarding. You need to kill to heal, which keeps the pace frantic and addictive. Classes offer vastly different playstyles, ranging from explosive melee combat to bending time and matter. Outriders impresses with its apocalyptic atmosphere. Industrial ruins, alien deserts, and energy storms create a hostile yet fascinating world. The armor and weapon designs are full of personality, with a rugged and worn aesthetic that reinforces the sense of desperation. The art direction balances sci-fi flair with raw brutality. This game is a rare mix of strong narrative and engaging combat. It makes you feel powerful yet vulnerable, always one step behind a planet that wants to destroy you. It's a shooter that grips you not just with action, but with the curiosity to uncover what happened on Enoch and how far you're willing to go to survive. Vanquish is pure insanity in the form of action. The story unfolds in a future where Earth faces resource scarcity and a massive space station-turned superweapon threatens the planet. You take on the role of an agent equipped with an experimental suit that grants superhuman mobility. The plot is straightforward but serves as fuel for an uninterrupted sequence of firefights, explosions, and impossible acrobatics. Gameplay is where the game shines: fast, fluid, and spectacular. The high-speed sliding system turns the battlefield into a stage of stylized destruction. You can shoot while sliding, dodge missiles in slow motion, and unleash devastating melee strikes with surgical precision. Every fight feels like an anime scene turned into a video game, non-stop, over-the-top, and relentless. The graphics and futuristic design still impress. Metallic cities, giant drones, and energy weapons build a vibrant technological aesthetic. Even years after release, the game holds up with clean, stylish visuals and incredibly smooth animations. Sparks, energy effects, and its pounding backdrop all contribute to a constant sense of movement and power. Vanquish isn't about thinking, it's about reacting. It's reflexes, instinct, and pure fun. It doesn't aim for realism, it aims for intensity, and in that, it's unmatched. one of the most underrated shooters of all time, built for those who crave the adrenaline rush of a futuristic war without ever lifting their finger off the trigger. Binary Domain is a shooter that blends futuristic action with philosophical questions about what it means to be human. Set in a future Japan, robots have begun to blend in with humans without even realizing they're machines. You're part of a squad sent to investigate a conspiracy that threatens to shatter the fragile line between man and machine. The plot is full of twists and emotional beats, exploring loyalty, fear, and artificial consciousness. Gameplay combines intense firefights with an innovative squad command system. Your decisions and behavior affect your teammates' trust, changing how they respond in combat and even altering the story's outcome. The shooting is responsive and satisfying, and robotic enemies demand precision. Targeting specific parts changes their behavior, making each encounter strategic and unpredictable. The graphics and setting build a convincing futuristic world. Neon-lit Tokyo streets, underground labs, and towering corporate skyscrapers form a vibrant backdrop. Enemy physics is one of the game's highlights. Robots break apart realistically, making battles visually striking. Every explosion, every broken limb carries weight, keeping you immersed from start to finish. What makes Binary Domain special is its balance of action and reflection. It delivers quality firefights while questioning the role of technology and morality in a machine-driven future. It's one of those overlooked titles that leaves a lasting mark on anyone who gives it a chance. A true hidden gem of the shooter genre. Rage 2 is chaos in its most fun form. The story takes place in a post-apocalyptic world ruled by insane factions, mutants, and heavily armed tyrants. You're the last elite ranger, fighting to bring order to a planet that has already lost all hope. The plot is simple, but it works perfectly as a backdrop for a spectacle of destruction, speed, and freedom. Gameplay is purely frenetic. The weapon system is insane, with rifles, explosives, and nanotrite powers that turn you into a war machine. Special abilities like kinetic pushes and explosive jumps completely change the combat flow. The game pushes you to be aggressive, fast, and creative. The bolder you play, the more rewards you earn. Rage 2 is vibrant and chaotic. The irradiated desert, the technological ruins, and the neon-soaked zones create a unique mix between Mad Max and sci-fi. Explosions fill the screen, and the art direction leans on strong colors and bold contrasts, steering away from the gray tone of traditional shooters. The result is a world bursting with energy, noise, and style. Rage 2 is about pure fun with no pretensions. It doesn't want you to think, it wants you to laugh while blowing everything to pieces. Fast, absurd, and stylish, it's one of the few shooters that embraces exaggeration as its identity. A game made for anyone who just wants to shut off their brain and enjoy the simple pleasure of causing maximum destruction. Far Cry 6 is a plunge into a revolution filled with chaos, courage, and contradictions. The story unfolds on a tropical island ruled by a brutal dictator, and you step into the role of a rebel fighting to free the people from oppression. The narrative is intense, packed with twists, mixing political drama with explosive action. It's not just about war, it's about resistance, sacrifice, and the cost of fighting for freedom. Gameplay is a true playground of destruction. The game gives you full freedom to decide how to act, strike head-on, sneak in silently, or turn chaos into spectacle with improvised weapons and explosive vehicles. The arsenal is varied and creative, and the progression system makes you feel stronger with every mission. It's the kind of game where every approach creates different stories. The graphics are jaw-dropping. Dense forests, sunny beaches, and vibrant cities create a constant sense of life and danger. The contrast between the island's natural beauty and the violence of the regime is striking. The world is so rich in detail that you'll want to explore every corner from enemy bases to hidden villages in the mountains. Far Cry 6 is an explosion of freedom and intensity. It balances pure action with an emotional, personality-driven story. It's a reminder that revolutions aren't just made of bullets, but also of hope. One of the most complete shooters of the generation, made for those who crave both challenge and purpose. Killzone Shadowfall was one of the first big games to showcase the power of the PS4, and it still impresses with its ambition. The story takes place in a future where two civilizations share the same planet after a devastating war. You play as an infiltrated agent trying to prevent tensions from erupting again. The plot blends espionage, politics, and tragedy, creating a world where heroes and villains are separated by a thin line. Gameplay is tactical and modern, focusing on freedom and varied approaches. The companion drone is one of the best additions, capable of attacking, protecting, or distracting enemies. Combat is intense and precise, demanding smart use of terrain and cover. Open missions with multiple routes allow you to play at your own pace and style. Shadowfall is still a spectacle. Futuristic cities, artificial forests, and metallic facilities create a clean and detailed visual identity. Lighting is one of its strongest aspects. Reflections, shadows, and particle effects still rival modern titles. It's the kind of shooter that proves how strong art direction can age gracefully. Killzone blends action and reflection in equal measure. It drops you in the middle of a futuristic Cold War and makes you question the price of peace. Even years later, it remains one of PlayStation's most elegant and underrated shooters, a game that defined its time and is still worth revisiting. Crysis Remastered brings back one of the most iconic shooters of all time, now reimagined for the new generation. The story unfolds on a remote island where military forces clash with something far more dangerous. You play as a soldier equipped with a nanosuit armor that enhances strength, speed, and cloaking. The plot mixes sci-fi and military suspense, building to the reveal of an alien threat that changes everything. Gameplay remains its biggest draw. Freedom of approach is total. You can strike stealthily, go in guns blazing, or use the environment to your advantage. The nanosuit enables unique strategies, and mastering its functions is key to survival. Combat is fluid and dynamic, with smart enemies and open environments that reward creativity. Even years later, the design still sets the standard. The remaster shows why Crysis was always synonymous with cutting-edge tech. CryEngine still amazes, with realistic vegetation, natural reflections, and destructible environments that bring battlefields to life. Light filtering through trees, water reacting to bullets, and detailed sound all add to the immersion. It's the kind of game that ages like a modern classic. Crysis Remastered is a reminder of how the genre evolved. It still delivers that unique feeling of power and freedom, combined with visuals that remain ahead of their time. A true icon of shooters, now sharper, smoother, and just as addictive as when it redefined the meaning of next-gen. Bulletstorm is chaos turned into fun. The story follows a group of betrayed mercenaries stranded on a planet filled with mutants and crazed criminals. Its tone is sarcastic, packed with dark humor and exaggeration, the perfect match for the stylized violence driving every moment. The plot is simple, but it bursts with energy, fueled by sharp dialogue and characters straight out of an 80s action flick. Gameplay is one of the most creative ever made in a shooter. The skill shot system rewards you for killing with style. The more inventive, the more points you rack up. Kicking enemies into spikes, launching them into the air with an energy whip, or blowing them up with precise shots is all part of the fun. It pushes you to be bold, and every new weapon opens up fresh ways to wreak havoc. The visuals still hold up impressively. Levels range from ruined cities to industrial bases and mutant-filled jungles, all bursting with color and life. The art direction leans into exaggeration and flair, steering away from the gray visuals common at the time. Explosions, humor, and relentless pacing make it all feel like a giant interactive spectacle. Bulletstorm isn't trying to be serious, and that's exactly why it works so well. It celebrates excess, creativity, and the pure joy of playing. Intense, funny, and packed with unforgettable moments, it's a cult classic of the genre, made for anyone who loves action without breaks and fun without limits. Lost Planet is one of the most original and atmospheric shooters of the classic console era. The story unfolds on a frozen, hostile planet where humanity struggles to survive against colossal creatures known as the Acrid. You play as a soldier searching for answers about your past amid a war between corporations and monsters that feel truly otherworldly. It's a lonely, chilling, and gripping narrative of survival, vengeance, and mystery. Gameplay is intense and full of personality. The thermal energy system forces you to stay warm in the constant blizzards, creating a real sense of urgency. Combat is heavy and strategic, switching between on-foot firefights and battles in giant mechs called VS. Every weapon has weight and impact, and boss fights are epic, demanding precision and constant movement. The visuals still impress thanks to their unique art direction. Blizzards, icy landscapes, and towering monsters create an atmosphere of constant danger and isolation. Enemy designs are imaginative, with detailed animations that make battles feel alive. The scale of the encounters makes each fight monumental, especially when the ice begins to crack beneath your feet. Lost Planet is more than a shooter, it's survival in a world that seems determined to kill you. It blends action, tension, and immersion in a way few games ever have. Even years later, it remains a forgotten gem, remembered fondly by those who braved its frozen battles, a true classic that deserves to be rediscovered. Gears of War Reloaded marks the triumphant return of one of the most legendary shooter sagas. The story revives the franchise's brutal, emotional tone, bringing a new chapter in the war between humanity and the underground forces that nearly destroyed the planet. The plot blends heroism and trauma, with soldiers fighting not only monsters, but also the weight of loss and the cost of war. It's a reunion with everything that made Gears iconic: brotherhood, sacrifice, and sheer intensity. Gameplay is the franchise's beating heart, sharper than ever. The cover system returns flawless, now more fluid and responsive, letting you switch between offensive and defensive tactics without losing momentum. Classic weapons are back with crushing impact, and new additions offer creative ways to annihilate enemies. Every battle feels cinematic, with a perfect rhythm of gunfire, dodges, and brutal executions. The graphics have been enhanced. The level of detail in characters, armor, and enemy creatures is striking. Environments range from burning ruins to futuristic bases and devastated landscapes, always highlighted by dramatic, realistic lighting. Every explosion and cloud of dust feels choreographed to reinforce the sense of chaos and urgency. It's a true visual spectacle fit for the new generation. Gears of War Reloaded is a love letter to the franchise, crafted for those who grew up with it and for newcomers alike. It delivers everything fans hoped for: emotion, brutality, and a narrative that balances heart with destruction. An epic comeback proving that some legends never die, they just reload. So, which of these shooters left the biggest mark on you or is still on your list to play? Drop it in the comments. I want to see who can actually pick just one among so many giants of the genre. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to help the channel hit 50K. Seriously, every bit of support makes a difference for us to keep bringing you lists and discoveries worth your time. And to wrap things up in style, check out the full gameplay of Gears of War Reloaded right here on the channel. It's absolutely insane, packed with cinematic battles and non-stop action from start to finish. Click there and witness the raw power of this classic reborn for the new generation. A big hug, enjoy the gameplay, and see you tomorrow